Hello students, welcome to my class Astrophysics. Today topics is matter waves, wave nature of particles, de Broglie relation. Dual nature of radiations. Radiations sometimes behaves as a wave and sometimes as a particle. That is, radiations has a dual nature. In a particular experiment, that is particular phenomena, the radiations has a particular nature, that is either possesses a wave nature or a particle nature. The various phenomena related to radiation can be divided into three categories. Number one, there are the phenomena like interference, diffraction, polarization, etc., which can be explained on the basis of electromagnetic wave nature of radiations only. Number two, there are the phenomena like photoelectric effect, Compton effect, etc., which can be explained on the basis of quantum, that is particle nature of radiations. And number three, there are the phenomena like rectilinear propagation, reflection, refraction, etc., which can be explained on the basis of either of the wave nature of or the particle nature of radiations. That means at present we know the radiations has dual nature, particle nature, wave nature, but at the different phenomena, one single type of nature shown by the radiations when we consider interaction between light to light, radiation with radiations, phenomena like interference, diffraction, polarization. These phenomena can be explained only if we consider light or radiation has wave nature. For other phenomena like photoelectric effect, Compton effect, etc., these effect or these phenomena cannot be explained with the help of wave nature. At that time, we consider the particle nature. That means when wave interacts with wave, we consider the wave nature and we can successfully explain the phenomena. And when the radiations interact with particle like electrons or other matter particles, at that time we have to consider the particle nature. But like some phenomena like rectilinear propagation, reflection, in these phenomena, we can consider both as wave nature or particle nature. Both way you can explain all these phenomena. De Broglie dualistic hypothesis. There is a term, there is a sentence, nature loves symmetry. And with the help of this statement, we already know that Faraday also used this statement. There is a magnetic field associated to electric current. And reversely or conversely, Faraday also proved that with the help of magnetic field, we can also produce the electric current. At that time, he also stated that nature loves symmetry. Similarly, de Broglie also considered this fact, nature loves symmetry. Since radiations has dual nature, therefore from symmetry considerations, de Broglie predicted that matter must also possesses a dual nature. Thus, the particle like electrons, protons, neutrons, etc., should not only behave like mass points, but they also exhibit wave nature when in motion. De Broglie hypothesis. According to de Broglie, or it is pronounced in this way, de Broglie or de Broglie or de Broglie, a moving material particle sometimes acts as a wave and sometimes as a particle, or wave is associated with moving material which controls the particle in every respect. The wave associated with the moving material particle is called matter wave or de Broglie wave, whose wavelength is called de Broglie wavelength, and it is given by lambda is equal to h divided by mv, where m and v are the mass and velocity of the particles and h is the Planck's constant. It is a de Broglie hypothesis. That means conversely, de Broglie stated that if radiations basically these wave in nature, if they exhibit particle nature, therefore obviously the moving particles like electrons, photons, etc., neutrons, they also exhibit the wave nature. And he stated that the associated waves known as matter waves, and the wavelength of that wave matter waves, that is also known as the de Broglie waves, that is the lambda is equal to h divided by mv. Now, de Broglie also derived this relationship lambda is equal to h divided by mv with the help of the Planck's quantum theory and Einstein's concept. According to Planck's quantum theory, the energy of a photon of a radiations of frequency nu and the wavelength lambda, that is the E is equal to h nu according to Planck's, where nu is the frequency and h is the Planck's constant. If photon is considered to be a particle of mass m, the energy associated with it according to Einstein mass energy relation is given by E is equal to mc squared. Now, if we consider the equivalent energy of a particle of mass m, then according to this photon, also photon, if we consider the mass of photon as the m and the energy the E, according to the Einstein mass energy relation, we can write E is equal to m into c square. Now E is equal to h nu, and from the Einstein's mass energy relation, E is equal to mc square. Equating these two, we can write h nu equal to m into c square, or m, it is known as the relativistic mass, that is the h nu divided by c square. It is the relativistic mass of the photon. Practically rest mass is 0, but if we consider mass of a photon, then it is the relativistic mass of the photon, that is the h nu. H nu is the h is the Planck's constant, nu the frequency, and c is the speed of the photon or speed of the light or velocity of the light. Therefore, the momentum we know momentum, that is the mass into velocity. Therefore, momentum of the particle, that is m into c, and that m relativistic mass is the h nu divided by c square into c, that is the h nu by c. This formula is quite different from the momentum of a particle, that is the m into v. It is the momentum of the photon. Now p is equal to h nu by c, and we can rewrite it h divided by c by nu, and we know the lambda equal to c by nu. Therefore, p, that is momentum of the photon, that is h divided by lambda, where lambda is the wavelength, or lambda wavelength, that is h by p. It is derived from the concept Planck's quantum theory, and with the help of the mass energy equivalence obtained from the special theory of relativity given by the Einstein. And by combining these two facts, de Broglie proved that lambda is equal to h by p. It is one relation which combine both the wave nature and the particle nature, because lambda is the related to the wave nature, that is wavelength, and p, momentum, it is related to the particle nature. De Broglie assumed that the equation 4 be equally applicable to both the photons of radiations and other material particles. Means this equation de Broglie basically derived from the concept of the energy of the photons, but de Broglie predicted that this equation is applicable for both the particles as well as the photon of the radiations. If a material particle of mass m is moving with a velocity v, then momentum of the particle p is equal to m into v. According to de Broglie hypothesis, the wavelength of wave associated with the moving material particle will be lambda is equal to h by p, that is h by m into v, in place of this p. And here de Broglie used that is p is equal to m into v, where m is the mass of the moving particles and v the speed at that moment. This is the de Broglie wave equations for the material particle, and it is the proof of the de Broglie statement or de Broglie derivations of the de Broglie wavelength. And now it is very well known formula, lambda is equal to h divided by mv or h by p. Conclusion from the de Broglie hypothesis. What are the different conclusions from the de Broglie hypothesis? Lambda is equal to h by mv. And from this equation, we can write lambda varies 1 by v for a particular particle. M is constant, h is constant. It means If a material particle moves faster, the de Broglie wavelength associated with it is smaller and vice versa. That means if V is more, lambda is the less. And if we consider different particles of same V, same velocity, then lambda varies 1 by m. It means for a heavier moving materials particle, the de Broglie wavelength associated with it is smaller and vice versa. Now, if V is a 0, then lambda will be the infinity. V is the 0, lambda infinity, and if V is the infinity, then lambda is the 0. It means the waves are associated with the material particles only if they are in motion. That means when the V that is 0, that is object is or particle is at rest, lambda is the infinity, it is insignificant. And therefore we can say the wavelength associated only moving particle, not any particle or any object which is at rest. Number 4, the de Broglie waves associated with a moving materials particles are independent of charge and nature of the particles. And in this equation, there is no term of the charge or nature of the particles. The particle may be neutral, may be positive, may be negative. Not depends upon that. That only depends upon the linear momentum. If it is the more linear momentum, the de Broglie wavelength lambda will be the less. Next, the de Broglie waves are not electromagnetic waves because the electromagnetic waves are produced by the motion of charged particles. Practically, de Broglie waves, it is not the elastic waves, just like sound wave. It is also not the electromagnetic waves. It is a third kinds of wave. It is different kind of wave. It is not the electromagnetic or elastic waves. Number 6. If a material particle is moving with velocity v, which is comparable to the velocity of light c, then the mass of m moving material particle of the rest mass m0 is given by, that is the m is equal to m0 divided by 1 root over 1 minus v square by c square, and lambda is the h divided by mv. That means m increases when v increases, and when m increases, obviously lambda decreases. That means the de Broglie wavelength of the same particle, it also depends upon the speed of that particles. If that speed is comparable to the light, speed of the light, and at that time we can write the formula for this wavelength, and that is h into root over 1 minus v square by c square whole divided by m not into v. If it is the comparable v, the comparable to the speed of lights. Otherwise, if it is very less, then we can neglect this term, and obviously that will be h divided by m not v. Otherwise, the m not, that is the rest mass, and m is the relativistic mass. Obviously, relativistic mass will be more, and when the velocity increases, the lambda will decreases gradually. Now, relation for the de Broglie wavelength and the temperature. From the kinetic theory of matter, the average kinetic energy of a particle at a given temperature, T Kelvin, that kinetic energy K is the 3 by 2 kT. Practically, it is for a monoatomic particles. That means for a particle, so obviously that is a single one, and half kT plus half kT, there are 3 degrees of freedom. Therefore, total energy is the 3 into half kT, that is 3 by 2 kT. K is the Boltzmann constant, and T is the temperature in the Kelvin scale. If a particle of mass m moving with velocity v, then its kinetic energy that will be half mv square, and we can rewrite it m square v square divided by 2m, that is p square by 2m. That means p is equal to root over 2mk. Already we know it in our standard 11. We have this relationship p is equal to root over m into k. K is the kinetic energy, and p is the linear momentum, m is the mass of the particle. It is a relationship between the momentum and the kinetic energy. Therefore, now kinetic energy, that is the 3 by 2 kT. Therefore, from this we can directly get the equations p is equal to 2m 3 by 2 kT, and that is the 3m k into t. That means if the particle is in motion due to the temperature, or the kinetic energy is the thermal kinetic energy, then what will be the momentum? It is the formula for that momentum, root over 3m kt. M is the mass of that particle, k is the Boltzmann constant, and t is the temperature in Kelvin scale. It is the energy. It is the momentum. Therefore, de Broglie wavelength at that time we can write h divided by p, that is h divided by root over 3 m k t. That means it is a temperature dependent formula for the wavelength, de Broglie wavelength, and basically it is used for the neutrons or neutral particles which has only the thermal velocity. And obviously for the different temperature, the lambda will be different for the same particles. All these other factors are constant, and lambda varies 1 by root over t. Now, de Broglie wavelength of an electrons, and let us consider an electron of mass m and charge e. Let v be the velocity acquired by electrons when accelerated from rest through a potential difference v volt. Here, the kinetic energy obtained by the electrons with the help of the potential difference with the help of the electric field, because electrons it is a charged particle, and we can supply the energy to the electron by applying some potential difference, by applying some electric field. And let us suppose electrons initially it was at rest, and it is accelerated through a potential difference v. Then the work done, that is the E into V, that is the work done, and that work done converted into kinetic energy. In such a case, the formula for the kinetic energy that will be different. The gain in kinetic energy of the electron half mv square, and obviously that half mv square is nothing but the q into v. In this case, q is the charge of the electron, and v is the potential difference. And from that we can find out the kinetic energy directly, or kinetic energy, or you can find out the initial velocity v. What will be the velocity of that electrons when that electron is accelerated through a potential difference v. We can write from this equation half mv squared, that is the E into capital V. Capital V is the potential difference, E is the charge of the electrons. Or from that, that is the V is the 2 eV divided by m whole root over. And if the lambda is the de Broglie wavelength associated with, and then we can write that is the h divided by m into p. We can write this, and that will be h divided by root over 2m ev. And otherwise, the kinetic energy is the ev. In this equation, the kinetic energy p is equal to, from this equation, p is equal to root over 2mk. In place of this k, directly we can write e into v. Then we can get directly equation, and there is no necessary to find out the what is the velocity and then putting the velocity. We can directly write it, because we know that is h divided by root over p. P means root over 2am, and that is the e k. And in place of the k, we can write here the e into v, where e the charge of electron and v the potential difference by which it is accelerated. That means e into v is the kinetic energy gained by the electrons when it is started from the rest. Therefore, it is one formula, when formula for a de Broglie wavelength of an electron when it is accelerated from the rest by a potential difference v, and what will be the de Broglie wavelength is this. Substituting the standard values in equation 2, we get here all these are, rather than the v, except v, all these are constant term, h, 2m, e, all these are constant. And by that h is the Planck's constant, and the value of h is the 6.363 into 10 to the minus 34, and 2 into mass, m is the mass of electron, that is 9.1, or 9 into 10 to the minus 31 kg. E is the charge of the electron, that is the 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19 coulomb. And the v is variables, v may be different voltage, but rather than the v, all these quantities are constant quantity. And by calculation we get that is 12.27 into 10 to the minus 10 whole divided by root over v in meter. And we know 10 to the minus 10 meter is nothing but 1 Armstrong. Therefore, we can write the equation lambda is equal to 12.27 divided by root over v Armstrong. So it is a standard equation. Easily we can find out the wavelength of an electron which is accelerated through a potential difference v. Obviously, let us suppose v is the 100 volt. Then 12.27 divided by root over 100 means divided by 10. That means 1.227 Armstrong. That means when an electron is accelerated through a potential difference 100 volt and starting from the rest, and after gaining the energy, kinetic energy, also the momentum, the wavelength of the electron that will be very small, that is in the order of the 1.227 Armstrong, and that is quite very small. The wavelength of visible light, that is lowest one around the 4,000 Armstrong. Here it is 1.227 Armstrong. and this wavelength it is in the order of the X-ray. Therefore, it obviously exhibit wavelength, wave nature of the electrons, but the wavelength is very small. Therefore, it is quite difficult to detect it. Now, the variations of the lambda with the kinetic energy, we can place this type of when kinetic energy increases, lambda obviously decreases, because lambda is equal to pH divided by root over 2m kinetic energy. So kinetic energy root over k inversely proportional to the root over k, and that is lambda obviously root over v. When v increases, the lambda increases, and 1 by root over v, that will be a straight line graph. That means it is the variations of the de Broglie wavelength when we increase for a particular given particle. When kinetic energy increases, de Broglie wavelength decreases. When the accelerating particular electrons, not particles, all particles, electrons, the accelerating potential, if it v increases, then lambda decreases, and obviously 1 by root over v versus lambda, that will be a straight line graph. Now, importance of wave properties of the electrons. That means the wave nature of electrons has been applied in the working of an electron microscope, which has a very high resolving power, and then that of optical microscope. Its working is based on the following facts. Like light radiations, electrons beams behave as wave, but with much smaller wavelength. By using electric and magnetic fields, electrons beams can be focused, and just as ordinary light becomes beams are focused by glass lens. Practically, de Broglie proposed that moving particles exhibit wave nature. But at that time there was no so experimental proof. Later on, Davison and German, two scientists, they experimentally proved that moving electrons possess wave nature. And what are the fact to prove the wave nature of any radiations or any object, particles, etc.? And that is interference or diffraction. Basically, by studying the diffractions, if there is any diffraction taken place, then we can say obviously that has a wave nature. But the condition for the diffraction, the width of the slit or the size of the obstacle, that should be in the order of the wavelength. Here the calculated value of the wavelength, that is around 1 to 2 Armstrong, and we cannot frame such a narrow slit to observe the wave nature. At that time, the Braggs experimented the diffraction of the X-ray with the help of the nickel crystal, and Davis and Germer, two scientists, they adopted the same method. They have taken one nickel crystals, and the accelerated electrons, they diffracted through that nickel crystal, and the wave nature of electrons experimentally established. Later on, at present, this wave nature is used in electron microscope. We know the resolving power of any optical instrument, that depends upon the wavelength. And if a wavelength is very small, then resolving power will be the more. That means we can resolve up to the order of the wavelength of that incident waves. With the help of ordinary microscope, we are using visible light, and the minimum wavelength of visible light is around 4,000 Armstrong. Therefore, we cannot resolve or cannot detect the particles or any object which has the size less than the 4,000 Armstrong. But if we use the wave nature of the electrons, and that is 1 2 in the order of the 1 2 Armstrong, therefore we can separately see objects up to size 1 or 2 Armstrong in that order, and therefore electron microscope has very high resolving power, and it is now technologically used. That means the wave nature of the electrons is proved, and later on it is now used in electron microscope, and it's all about the de Broglie wavelength. Now it is the end of this session. We will meet with you in our next lesson.